Team, we have a banger show for you today, so you're going to want to stay until the end. But something small happened within the recording process today. We recently changed up our recording process and when and how we record it, and something happened dramatically in our recording and it did not come out properly. There was no local recording, so the format we recorded in is a little bit awkward. So instead of just trashing the show today, we are going to do an audio version for you guys today. So you're going to get a lot of value today. Thank God there was no charting today. There was just great conversation just about XRP, just about Trump and cryptocurrencies, about Casper. So there's a lot of value in this show, and you can get it all with only audio. There's no visuals needed for today. And so, team, if you're really a ride or die, this should be no problem, okay? But if you do have some concerns, whatever, go ahead and leave the video now. But if you want some true value, stick until the end and let us know in the comments. What did you think of this audio recording? Was it worth your time? Should we do more audio sessions like this? I know we could do some spaces. We could do some other audio formats. So let us know. Love to hear your feedback, but let's get into the show. All right, team, we are back for the Ask Maddie show, and we're going to have a great show for you guys today. I am pretty excited because when XRP is setting new highs or local highs, my portfolio is setting new highs. So I'm very excited for that. So I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know. How are you feeling, Maddie? You put out a good tweet this morning. How are you feeling right now?
I feel vindicated, baby. I really do. You guys go back and look at that tweet, but it was just so exhausting watching these uneducated, sour, bitter haters talk shit on XRP, and especially from a utility perspective. They would say it has no utility, it's a shit coin, Ripple's dumping on you guys, it is an unregistered security, you're just blinded by, the investment side of things. And, now that we have XRP at, a $3-ish price point, obviously we've pulled back a little bit, but moving from 50 cents to $3 or so, I think that people are very quiet. That were previously very vocal about how terrible of an asset it was. People's perception of the quality of an asset almost always is about the immediate price, and they don't see the trade plan. And anytime something else pumps before the thing that they invested in, it becomes a scam. And I hope that this is a lesson for you guys, not just about XRP. Next cycle, when you guys are picking stuff out in the bear market or picking your trades or setting up your trades, ignore the rest of the noise, because you know what? Most of these other guys don't know what they're talking about. They don't have any conviction. They're not actual investors. They're here trying to time the markets, which is like a fool's errand. Time in market is always better than timing the markets, and XRP is just a great example of that. Even when you look at the length of time that you've been in XRP, right? Be like, oh my God, I've held it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Let's do the math on that, right? Like, you have 5 years in the investment, and this year alone, we've done over a 400% move. So you're doing like almost a 2x every single year, right? When you think about it that way. You guys have to look at the longer term picture of how you'd be investing in other things, right? You wouldn't be like, I've been sitting on the S&P for 2 years and I haven't seen the return that I'm looking for here, right? Like, you would never approach it that way. So one, you either don't understand the investment that you're a part of, or two, you have just disgustingly horrible timeline expectations and you think that you're a day trader that's going to time the exact bottom and time the exact top, and it's not going to happen. So plan the trade the plan, and you guys are going to make some money. It's very difficult to not do that when you buy in the bear.
Maddie, today is a very weird day, and it's been a while since we had a day like today, because on days like today we see people come out of the woodworks and try to figure out why XRP is pumping. We were discussing earlier, and we're talking about all these different people from one end of the spectrum to the other. On one end of the spectrum, we have a coin bureau, which is relating XRP's rise to a BlackRock alleged news device with XRP. And then on other ends, we have, I was reading you a news article earlier, and they were trying to pin up technical indicators with why XRP is pumping today. And that's just so deceiving, because we make our buying decisions off technical indicators. We don't say XRP is pumping because of technical indicators like RSI. So it's like, I thought that was very funny. And then you see other people that are saying, XRP is pumping because Trump took a picture with Brad Garlinghouse like 5 days ago. So which is like, it's just so crazy today, and it's so funny, and it's why I don't even like connecting news events with price action, because it is just not worthy enough for me. It's not worthy of my time, because I am more interested in buying in strategic zones. So, if you bought in a strategic zone for XRP, you would have bought the low in the local low in mid-December, and you would have been up like 45% today. So that's very interesting. Of course, I or Maddie here was not buying that because our averages are in the doldrums. We bought the low of XRP. You know, you saw Maddie's XRP average a couple shows ago. It was incredible. So obviously we weren't buying XRP here, but we are reaping the rewards today because
Right.
our portfolio is predominantly XRP. So I'm feeling pretty good today, team. And we're going to get into a lot of good topics today. You guys left a lot of good questions, hot takes, and statements here. I'm interested. You guys are funny sometimes. We're going to be discussing XRP, of course, and more Trump speculation with crypto. Also, Casper buying strategies, post bull run APY, and more alleged XRP news. This is the Ask Maddie show. Before we get into the content today, team, make sure you become a Crypto Charge member. Click the pin link down below. It will take you over to Crypto Charge, the website, our crypto education platform, the shows, the tools, the community, all over there. Use code YouTube to sign up. Maddie, let's get into the content today because I'm very excited.
Cool.
And I did want to say on the topic of crypto charge, right? And I always like, try to pin it back because some people don't know what we do over there. Dan yesterday did a show and he was discussing CPI data, right? And CPI expectations for today were supposed to remain the same or actually go a little bit higher. And Dan yesterday was saying, hey, if CPI data comes in a little bit lower, expect better responses, a good response in risk on markets like stocks, like cryptos. And that's exactly what we saw today at 5 a.m. this morning, my time, 8:30 Eastern time. CPI data came out lower than expected. The core number came out lower than expected, not the headline, and the markets were rallying. So I do want to pin that up because I don't like tying news events with that, but that is a big market mover. And we see, Maddie, good reaction in risk on markets when it comes to Fed actions, when it comes to global liquidity, when it comes to labor and things like that. So, in inflation, of course.
Right.
So I did want to touch on that, Maddie. What is your honest thoughts on things like that? Because we talk about news events, but that is one that seemingly is always pretty much on point.
Right. Well, what we're really referencing here is economic data versus just narratives. And you can obviously have a narrative that can accompany the economic data, but a lot of times people will stretch the economic data, or they'll see a particular thing happening and they'll pick one very small variable in a much larger data set and go, that little piece of data is the thing that really make the market do what I thought I was going to do today. I think that Crypto Charge, we have a very well-rounded approach. We try to also have a very macro-oriented approach. So, obviously a lot of these news events we don't get on, a daily basis. We'll get these data points on a monthly basis. We get Fed meetings every 6 weeks. So really a lot of this stuff is a lot more macro. And that's really what I think we try to get you guys locked in on is the trends that we're seeing in the economic data over time, not this exact data today is going to dictate what the market's going to do for the next 2 years. So that's kind of the picture that we try to paint for you guys there. I do think it's very helpful. Dan is a person that's really got my personal macro stuff dialed in, I would say, in the last 3.5 years. And I'm very, very grateful for him as a partner, friend, and an educator. So you guys are going to want to check those episodes out on Tuesday. It's every Tuesday. He covers that for you guys. And it's a really great way to just stay brushed up because you can also take that data and you can apply it to your other investments. You can apply it to your conversations with friends and clients and other things that you have, whether, you own a business or you're in real estate or whatever. You can apply a lot of this in conversations, even outside of crypto, and just come off as a more educated person as a whole. So I think it's worth, definitely checking out the Tuesday show, even if you guys are not necessarily hyper-focused on the macro.
Love that, Maddie. Let's get into the questions for today. Arzub says, what's your take on XRP now?
Oh, I hate it. XRP is the worst. No, I mean, come on, guys. It's on a day-to-day basis. I certainly don't change my feeling about XRP. I would say that that's one of the main things that I do see where people will shoot me a message on Instagram that don't follow Crypto Charge anymore, and they'll say, "Hey, how do you feel about XRP now?" Well, that's kind of what I was kind of getting at the top of this episode. Is I have a very, very big macro picture for XRP, and these targets that I've made are based on weekly charts, right? So each candle is worth 1 week's worth of price action. So I'm not going to change the way I feel or my sentiment about XRP on a day-to-day basis when I'm making the big decisions on weekly charts. So those weekly charts obviously translate into decisions that play out over months or years. So where are we now? We're getting kind of close to gearing up to maybe towards that first TP here in the next several months. And I'd love to really just as a team, see everyone take some money off the table around that $8 mark. And some people will, as we start to get to those prices, will tell me, hey, Matt, it's different now, right? And you got BlackRock out here, you got all these institutions, and maybe we get an XRP ETF approval. Well, this is going to change it forever. XRP to $100, XRP to $500. I'm not going to change the plan that I've had, for years now on how I want to exit XRP. Now, again, keeping a portion of your bag long term, especially if you guys have a really good average, keeping a little bit of a hedge, as a long term play, not a terrible idea. But remember what that bear market felt like and how much you wish you had probably sold more last cycle, not just XRP, just any crypto, right? Wishing you had sold a little bit more last cycle. Make sure you're not repeating those mistakes this cycle by buying into narratives, whether it's XRP related or not, that this time is different. Because I promise this time will not be different. That how long the exact date that the bull run ends, I couldn't tell you, but I will say with high confidence that altcoins will see most likely a minimum of minus 70%, and that's probably on the shallow side. So I think best case scenario, if this time is different, you'll still see a minus 75% for alts, and it's probably going to be realistically more than that. So, you guys do what's good for you. That's how I feel about XRP.
Benny847 says, Trump is considering no taxes on U.S. cryptos, so buying XRP is a win for us.
That's a huge promise to make, and it's something that someone cannot unilaterally promise, right? Like even if Donald Trump signs an executive order and says no taxes on crypto, that's not going to fly. There's going to be, first of all, there's a lot of powers that be that are far more powerful than Donald Trump that don't just control what happens here in the U.S., but outside of the U.S. as well. You have to consider the IRS as an entity that's technically not a federal entity, right? They're technically an independent entity, and I don't think they're willing to let crypto billionaires walk away with every last dollar in their pocket without taking a piece of the pie. There's never a time where Uncle Sam has been like, you know what? Keep more of your money. That's never a trend that we see. We never see more money coming back into our pockets. It's always the other way around. Like, go ahead and point to a time, guys, where you have received more money or your purchasing power has gone up. Because you're getting more money in your pocket, you're seeing less taxation. Even if we're going to exemplify certain cryptos, like you're going to have to pardon and reverse a lot of things. You just had recently a person who was an early Bitcoin investor who has now been sentenced for 4 years in jail for being dishonest about their cost basis, inflating it artificially, and essentially evading taxes, right? And we're going to somehow see a flip that nobody has to pay taxes on any crypto. All the other markets would collapse because people will just be FOMOing into crypto because it'd be a tax-free thing. And then at what point is the government incentivized to help us with anything if they're not collecting any taxes from this incredibly highly lucrative technology? It's great, hypothetical thing. As a libertarian, I hate taxes. I know that they're unconstitutional. I know that they're straight up illegal. Income tax is illegal. But that doesn't change the fact that if you don't pay your taxes, that they're mostly going to put you in jail. And there's very little examples of the government making taxation less for us. So, I'd love to see it, but there's a ridiculous number of barriers in order for us to get there. And I think it's like a 0.00001 chance of this potentially happening. I know someone in the comment goes, so you're saying there's a chance? No, I'm saying there's practically no chance, right? Oppenheimer, near zero. And that's pretty much where I'm at with it.
Maddie, I don't know. I think the IRS is a very honest entity. I mean, last year I overpaid them, but they sent me a check back. So I was very thankful for that. So IRS, I always pay my taxes. I always pay my crypto taxes. Do not come after me. I always do the right thing when it comes to that. Maddie over here is criticizing you. I am not. I did want to talk about Trump. He's saying Trump is considering. Maddie, we were discussing earlier, and Trump administration and people surrounding him, his surrogates, have made promise after promise as it relates to crypto. And I'm fine with that. But you said something earlier today. He's like, hey, if we get 2 out of the plethora of promises we got, that was a win. And I came back to you. I'm like, okay, so we got no CBDC, and then we have Crypto Advisory Council. There's your 2 right there. That's probably what we're going to get right now, Matt. Is that, I'm just
no, I'm with you. Those would be like 2 of like the smallest things that really just don't, especially no CBDC being kind of like the one that requires inaction versus action, right? Like that's like almost like a very lazy promise. Like all you have to do is just make sure that people don't spend the resources on development, and you've done your job, right? Like it's no pilot testing, no sandboxing, and that's it. Like, that'll be it. So, I do hope that we get much bigger promises fulfilled. But again, guys, like you really could easily see Trump do the bare minimum and be like, that's a W. Again, hoping that's not the case. But like we just said, there's some promises that are just really just so far fetched that I don't think that they can be fulfilled. It's the equivalent of like when you're running for like 6th grade class president and you're going to make recess longer and lunch is better. And like, you're nine, bro. Like you don't have any control over this stuff. So I don't know. I'm not saying that that's a 100% equivalent, but there's always like a lot of hype and promising during campaigns, and what actually happens. It has multiple layers to it, right? We have checks and balances in our government, and someone can't unilaterally promise a massive overhaul, especially when it comes to taxation.
Maddie, it's so funny that you say that because it made me think about something. In high school, I remember people actually running for student council on things that they could not accomplish, right? And I think that accurately reflects things in politics today, where people make statements, they make promises that they know they cannot fulfill, but it will fulfill the rhetoric that the intended audience desires,
Right.
right? And so for this, I wouldn't get so caught up in all of these promises. And I think that's actually a strategic way to go. And I don't think that's me bashing upcoming Trump administration. I think that's just me being honest. And I think that was a good take of yours, Maddie, as like, I think we will only see a handful of things. I would like to see some better regulatory clarity. I would like to see a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I would,
Right.
I would like to continue to see the crypto advisory council and people being able to explain what a blockchain does and explain Bitcoin and other digital assets to the greater audience of America, to get them interested in a new monetary system as it relates to Bitcoin and utility coins that we care about. So I think that's very interesting, but I don't want to place all my chips in that. And I think that's one of the reasons why, hey, I don't know if you've heard from Maddie lately. I never heard Maddie say he was going to ape in all in on Bitcoin, and I certainly don't either. And so that's why we kind of spread our chips. We get a good grasp on the crypto market via XRP, via these other altcoins, top 100 cryptos, and we get some smaller cap cryptos. And I think that is a honest way and a smart way, if we're being, crystal clear here, to make true wealth and to not, be overly, because that's always it is, Maddie. It's always ape into one idea, ape into one crypto. When it's like, listen, like grasp a good one on this early asset class and ride it until the end of your days, right? And I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, definitely having some long-term conviction can breed some great results and also just less stress.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're running. Dude, yap session today. Redskin Faithful says, "What is a good DCA for Casper?"
Really, just under 2 pennies is just a no-brainer to me. I mean, depending on your average, or let's say you're just starting a brand new position. What I've stated, and you guys can go and look at a Twitter thread that I published on it's on our crypto charge as well. Yeah, a while ago. You're actually probably almost like 2 years ago. So I mean, if we're going to like be incredibly macro about it, and we're scaling out to like monthly chart, weekly chart, I would say under 5 cents is still a very good deal. Now, if you have the opportunity to build a position underneath 2.5, 2.7 cents, that's really going to breed you a better risk reward ratio, right? Because the difference between 2.5 and 5 is literally a 50% less reward to any target that you're looking at. So I would try to focus on getting in underneath 2.5, but if you're brand new and you're just building this position and you kind of are just doing a DCA, you could DCA all the way up to 5 cents. I would really not want to personally be DCing over 5 cents just because that risk reward starts to go down. Like we're doing a trim, like a 15. I mean, again, I would never give financial advice. Everything's going to be different for every person based on their own, like, personal situation, risk appetite, all these different things. But what I've recommended to the team of what I'm doing is a 15 to 20% trim at the 22 to 35 cent region. So if you're building an average underneath 2.5, 2.7, and then we're taking a little bit of TP up there, right? You're looking at like taking over a 10x off the table at that trim level. So when we're looking at a 5 cent entry though, up into like that 20 cent region, now we're talking about like a 5x, right? So it's a vastly different reward. Now, still very good, but that's really top of accumulation. So you guys need to make a decision that makes sense for you. If you already have a very good average, like, 1.2, 1.3, does it make sense to, really aggressively average over 2? Probably not. So you guys have to kind of look at your own portfolio, your own risk appetite, how much you can consistently add to the market over the next several months, and then make decisions based off of that.
All right, Maddie, let's run the rack. Let's see how many questions we can get through now. James Bond says, after this bull run and I transfer all of my cryptocurrency into stablecoins, can I stake on a hardware wallet and get APY?
Absolutely. And Ledger especially has had a lot of just big integrations over the last 2 years, I've noticed. They've always been present, but they've definitely gotten more and more present, especially now that Ledger's come out with some really nice devices. By the way, guys, like I'm a huge proponent of the new Flexes. They're really, really nice hardware devices, especially like if you felt like the old devices were a little bit more cumbersome, which they are a little cumbersome, but still very good devices. This takes away a lot of that cumbersome, element of it because it's just very easy to see the whole transaction. You can see the whole, the whole thing on the screen. It's touch screen is very responsive, and the battery life has been incredibly excellent. I have not charged this once since I set it up several days ago, and I'm still at 99% power right now. So very good battery life. Anyway, this is not a huge commercial for Ledger, but if you guys are interested, I do have a link where you guys earn a little bit of Bitcoin back if you guys end up buying something. Beside the point, remember with a hardware wallet, if you do stake with it, so they won't technically be like inside your hardware wallet, but the hardware wallet will still represent the key for signatures, removing from the pool, all those different things. So it's not the equivalent of like having 100% custody over your asset when it's in a staking pool, although you hold the keys still. There still is a little bit of an element of like a little bit of risk. So make sure you guys are always looking at what you're connecting to. Just because you see the highest APY, it's the most attractive APY, doesn't mean it's the best protocol. So there's a lot of things you want to look at, especially if you're going to be staking long term. You want to look at the insurance policy. So who's actually backing this up if things go wrong, right? For example, I've had a really long conversation with Caleb and Brown about how they do their insurance policy and how the self custody works with Fireblocks, and how their cold storages are partitioned. And like, it's important that we dig on that stuff. And it maybe sounds a little bit like hard work, but this is your money that you've done a good job investing, reaped a great profit on, and now you're trying to make sure that the money continues to work for you. It's, in my opinion, worth making sure that you do that. So one resource I'd definitely like to point you guys to is my friend Zach over at Stable Minded. They do a great podcast on YouTube and Spotify, and they talk a lot about stable coins, earning yield, and a lot of different ways to go about it. So I definitely like you guys to go check that out if you guys are interested in managing your stable coins, even currently in this bull run or post bull run. It's going to be a good resource for you guys. So you can definitely get APY though. There's definitely opportunities to use your hardware wallet, and anytime you can use your hardware wallet, I always advocate for that over using even like another decentralized wallet like a MetaMask. There's just the physical 2FA factor to it really just reduces a lot of risk.
Yeah, Zach covered the whole high yield APY on stablecoins on the show on the website, but even something as simple as your Coinbase account. I mean, I have my stablecoin sitting there in USDC, and you're earning like 4.5% back on your stablecoins there. So that's like that's not egregious, but that's not so bad. That's not so bad. It's
better than nothing, especially if you're just waiting for a limit order, or even if you're doing a DCA, because you can do your DCA in USDC. You can do you can set limit orders in Coinbase Advanced in USDC. So you could basically let a lot of those coins cook that you're not using and then set limits for them in USDC. So there's a lot of benefits.
Right. Team, great show today. We covered a lot. We're going to cut out a question just because it's honestly silly, and it was a good way to cap off the show. We're just going to end it off on a high note, talking about something serious, though, today. Team, if you got something valuable here, make sure you leave a like and think about subscribing. We're trying to grow this channel extremely fast. I started at 3 a.m. this morning, Maddie. I didn't even tell you this. There is the new TikTok alternative named Red Note. Crypto Charge is on there. Crypto Charge is on the next Chinese social media app. Of course, Maddie, how I love my Chinese social media apps. All right?
Me too, bro. I can't wait to give them my data. In fact, I send my data directly to the Chinese Communist government every single day, just out of spite.
Oh, bro, I give away all of my privacy for the next Chinese social media app. It is so great. We love our Chinese social media apps. So we're on Red Note. I don't think it's going to follow through. I don't think it's going to, because there would need to be a lot of iteration to the app right now. Like when I post, other viewers are seeing my English text in Mandarin, and so there would need to be some changes to adjust to an American-based audience. So I don't know if it's going to come through, but I would rather bet early than bet later. So we're on Red Note if you guys want to check us out there, but it's nothing that you're not seeing on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. I just wanted to throw that out because it was 3 a.m. this morning, and I literally, Maddie, all day yesterday, I'm like, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? And then I just did it at 3 a.m. this morning. I was like, I did it. I did it. All right, team, leave that like, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.